Knockout wins, knockout losses. Andre Fialho taking on Joaquin Buckley at 170 pounds. That's why you see the asterisks on the screen. So for Joaquin Buckley, I mean, he started off his pro career at welterweight, his amateur career at welterweight, his last time at 170 pounds. He weighed under the limit when he took on Logan Storley. He weighed 168.3, did Joaquin Buckley. And he was still big frame-wise for that matchup. Now, if you went back and watched that fight, I remember watching it live and thinking, man, this Logan Storley guy, he's good at wrestling, but he's not much fun to watch. Well, now, Storley's gotten better with his boxing, and Joaquin Buckley's gotten trickier with his wrestling, I guess. But in that matchup, it's 15 minutes of Logan Storley on top of Joaquin Buckley, and that's about it.
This fight, to me, though, there's like a cheat code if you want to figure out who won every basketball game every night. Don't look at any stats. Just look at who hit the most threes and who shot the most free throws. Whoever did that basically wins every single game. I can simplify this fight in those same terms. Whoever's moving forward is probably going to win this fight. Like, what do both guys struggle with? Both guys are offensive dynamos, I would say. When they are moving forward, they throw combinations. They can throw single shots with power. They both have exceptional hand speed, too, for how big they are. I would say Buckley, though, he is a bit more of an outlier. Like, you look at Joaquin Buckley, yes, he's a physical specimen, but, like, the guy throws hands, and he throws them very fast for being as big as he is. But if Fialho is moving backwards, we have seen him struggle, especially with his back up against the cage. He gets a little bit uncomfortable when he's being pressured by big punchers. And I know you're probably thinking, well, Jake Matthews, is he really a big puncher? But if you do look at that fight, and I do think that fight does give you a bit of a precursor to how Joaquin Buckley could fight, because Matthews might not be the power puncher Joaquin Buckley is, but a very upright boxer. He's going to throw a lot more boxing combinations, not show you as many kicks, although yes, Matthews will hit you with a leg kick quite a bit. I just think for Buckley, he can look at that fight and think, okay, if I move forward, make Fialho uncomfortable, I can land some strikes and I can land effective ones. But if you're Andre, you can look at a lot of Joaquin's past performances too and think, hey, when he's moving backwards, I can make him uncomfortable and I can land my own power shots.
I'm not a numbers guy when it comes to these fights, but this is the weird thing about Andre Fialho when you look at just his UFC fights, and then I can tie it into the fights that he's had on the regional scene. Michel Pereira, 33%. Miguel Baeza, 57%. Cameron Van Camp, 70%. Then you have Matthews, 35%, and Salikov, 25%. What are those percentages? The significant strike percentage for Andre Fialho, when he's losing, they're bad. So you go and you watch the fights and you try and figure out why. Because the fighters that he's losing to are able to figure out the distance and mix in their kicks, and Andre Fialho can't do anything with his boxing combinations when space has been established by his opponent. Jake Matthews with leg kicks. You had Muslim Salikov at the start of the first round land a couple of kicks, landed that spin kick to the body that ended up finishing him in the second round. And after that, Andre is one of these guys like Darren Till. We have a couple of fighters that we liken him to where he kind of loads in and he gets that set. It's almost like a hitch in a baseball hitter's swing. You can't do it as much anymore.
He's not Gary Sheffield.
Andre Fialho will do a hitch before he goes in to land his combinations. And Fialho is such an interesting puncher because he is so set in his ways. Joaquin Buckley can flow with his overall striking. Andre Fialho, it's either double jab right hand, he'll land the jab and then throw that left hook, or he'll go jab right uppercut and land a leg kick. Andrea has these set combinations in the way that he likes to fight. He did it against Van Camp, and when it got ugly and he got hit by that straight shot and it kind of sent him into no man's land, he got back into it. Those were those car crashing type of exchanges. So when you do look at a matchup like this, Matt, again, Buckley, it's going to be the question marks of making the weight. Both of these guys, 6 bonuses between them, and they're, well, I mean, Fialho, it's short time in the UFC because it's just over a year. Buckley, it's been a little bit, but you look at the losses for Buckley. His last time out, like, he seemed upset to be fighting against Chris Curtis, and that caused him issues. He was upset when he fought Nasser Nemavov. That caused him issues. I don't know if he has any beef with Andre Fialho. We're going to find out about that one. But when you do look at this one, Matt, I mean, a couple of strikers that don't have the greatest wrestling defense, I doubt it goes to the mat in this one.
I doubt it does. I could see Joaquin Buckley maybe throwing in a takedown. I'm not going to lie. Like, you got to say it if you think it could happen. Buckley's probably the more likely of the two because his striking style is kind of that peekaboo, go for an overhand, and it does give him positions to go for a lot of takedowns from that position. So, again, Buckley could implement that into his game, and that's why if he does look good on Friday at the scales, I do like Buckley in the matchup. I'll be interested to see how they do match him up moving forward at 170, but I love this as an introduction kind of fight for him at 170. Fialho is a very difficult opponent. If he lands his own shots, you're going to be in trouble, but he is kind of a jumpable hurdle, if you will.
You have 31 wins between these guys. 24 of them are by way of the knockout. We have a look at the Tapology votes, Matt. In the matchup, surprise to us as they are to you, I'm going to say over under 67.5% Joaquin Buckley.
I think they'll be over.
They are over 1,001 total votes, 77% Buckley, 85% by knockout. For the 23% that have Fialho, 81% by the knockout. It is also a clash of stances. I mean, you have Joaquin Buckley, southpaw. You have Andre Fialho, orthodox. Again, Fialho, I talked about where the numbers don't represent it. Go and watch Andre Fialho's fight with XMMA when he's taking on James Vick. James Vick does have his back up against the cage, but his kicks keep Fialho at range, and he's not really able to do anything in the first round, but then once Fialho walks him down in the second round, he's able to get the finish. So if you look at a matchup like this, Matt, it is an oddball fight, and one where we picked both these guys to win. We picked them both to lose so far in their UFC tenure, but what is the pick in the matchup?
Buckley might not have some of the steady strikes from the outside to back up a guy like Fialho, like the leg kicks that you had brought up, but his presence and his footwork, I think, can do the same thing. Again, they might not show up as, like, strikes on the meter, but his guy uses his feet very well, and he does make you miss. Now, is he Floyd Mayweather? No, not at all. But he does have pretty good movement on the feet before he's able to land his own boxing combinations. So for that reason, and again, I feel like this pick more than any other is tied to question mark kicks, because it's going to come down to how does Buckley look at 170. But like you brought up, he does seem to weigh in light he did weigh in light at 170. He'll weigh in light at 185 too. Like, I doubt we are going to get big issues. I'll look dumb if we do. So I'll pick Buckley now, but I'll be curious to see how he looks on the scale.
I mean, Michael Irvin saying Murcielago MMA for Joaquin Buckley. Andre Fialho out of one of the bigger gyms being Kill Clip, but you see him training with Ong Lang Sung, Ange Lusa. I mean, 185 middleweight zone, Michael Chandler. He wants to fight Conor McGregor there. I do have Joaquin Buckley on this one. I think he can circle away from some of these combinations out of Fialho, but once Fialho finds that range, you're in a lot of trouble. And Baeza was trying to do it at the start, and Fialho wasn't able to get it going. But then once he figured it out as the fight went on, he was really starting to land with a lot of power. So both of us in the matchup going with new Mansa, Joaquin Buckley, to get the win. The next fight on the card, Matt, we're talking about Emily Ducote taking on Lupe Godinez on short notice.